They told you God was outside, up in the sky, judging, waiting, keeping score. But what if that's the biggest lie you've ever been sold? What if the divine isn't watching you because the divine is you? Sounds wild, right? But stay with me. You've spent your whole life identifying with thoughts, labels, roles, believing you were the character. Yet deep down, there's a silence that's been watching the whole thing unfold. That silent presence. That's the observer. And here's the twist. The observer isn't just witnessing life. It is life. It's God in disguise, wearing your face, living your routine, pretending to be just human. The moment you stop chasing the next achievement and drop into this exact moment, you'll feel it. A quiet power, a knowing that needs no proof, no more trying to earn worth or prove your existence, no more separation. And the best part, you don't have to meditate for 20 years to access this. You just have to notice. Because the second you do, the illusion cracks and something ancient wakes up inside you. 1. The mind's illusion. You are not the voice in your head. Most people live their whole lives thinking they are the voice in their heads. That non-stop chatter, it's just the mind doing what it does, narrating, judging, planning, remembering. But here's the catch. That voice isn't you. It's just content passing through something bigger. And that something is your awareness. When you realize that, the game begins to shift. Ever caught yourself replaying an argument from 3 years ago while brushing your teeth? That's the mind doing mental gymnastics. It creates noise, drama, and imaginary enemies. And we believe every word. The problem isn't thinking itself. The problem is identifying with the thinking. It's like watching a movie and forgetting you're in a theater. If you close your eyes right now and listen to your thoughts for a minute, you'll notice something interesting. There's the thought. And then there's you noticing the thought. That's the real you, the observer. You're not the story, you're the screen it's playing on. This is where consciousness starts to wake up and ask real questions. It's like mistaking the clouds for the sky. Thoughts come and go, they're temporary. But the sky, your awareness, remains untouched. This simple shift from being the voice to watching the voice changes everything. And once that door cracks open, something even more silent and powerful begins to show itself from within. 2. The eternal witness. Discovering the silent presence within. There's something inside every human being that never changes. It was there when you were 5, it's here now, and it'll still be here when your hair turns gray or disappears completely. That's the observer. It doesn't age, it doesn't react, and it doesn't speak, it just watches. While the mind spins stories and emotions rise and fall, this presence remains still. Think about the last time you got angry. Who noticed the anger? Who was quietly aware of it, even if you didn't act on it right away? That's the witness. You might have felt like punching a wall, but something in you just saw it. That's not weakness, it's awareness. It's proof that there's something deeper in you than your reactions. The crazy part, most people spend decades without ever meeting this part of themselves. They live as the role, the character, the job title. But none of those labels stick to the real you. The observer doesn't care if you're CEO, divorced, rich, or broke. It just sees. And when you start to identify with that silence, you stop being tossed around by life's chaos. The more you stay connected to this quiet presence, the more peace you start to feel. Not because problems disappear, but because you're rooted in something bigger than them. And the wild part? That observer isn't just a passive bystander. There's something divine about it, something that sounds a lot like God. 3. God in human form. Why you are both the creator and the creation. Most people think God is up there in the clouds, watching from a distance like a cosmic referee. But what if that's just another story created by the mind? The truth is way more personal and way more powerful. You're not just a part of creation. You are consciousness itself, expressing as a human, that silent observer within you. That's God, disguised as you. When you observe your life without judgment, something magical starts to happen. You stop reacting and start creating. Instead of being stuck in traffic thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this showing me about my own mind?" That shift turns you from victim to creator. Your awareness becomes a brush, and life becomes your canvas. You ever tried visualizing something and watched it manifest weeks later? That's not just luck, that's consciousness in action. It's the divine using human form to shape reality. The clearer your awareness gets, the more intentional your creation becomes. Your inner world literally bends your outer world. The observer isn't just watching, it's designing. So here you are, both the movie and the projector, both the prayer and the answer. You're the wave and the ocean at once. And when you start living from that place, the question isn't, is God listening? It becomes, am I listening to God inside me? But to hear it clearly, you've got to drop the noise of another character that's been running the show for too long. 4. The game of identity. How the ego keeps you asleep. The ego's a clever little actor. It convinces you that you are your name, your job, your history. It whispers, "This is who you are," and you believe it. Hook, line, and sinker. But the ego isn't evil. It's just confused. It's trying to protect a false identity that doesn't actually exist. And the moment you believe its stories, you fall deeper into the illusion of separation. Picture this. You're scrolling through social media, comparing your life to everyone else's highlight reel. That jealousy, that "I'm not enough" feeling, that's the ego clinging to control. It wants validation, status, likes. But the observer, it couldn't care less about any of that. It sees the game and doesn't take it personally. That's true power. The ego also loves drama. It thrives on being right, being offended, being the hero or the victim. It creates conflict just so it can feel alive. But the more you watch it, the more you realize, wait a second, I'm not the one yelling in traffic. I'm the one noticing the yelling. That awareness is what begins to melt the illusion. Slowly, but surely. Once you stop feeding the ego with identification, it starts to lose its grip. You stop chasing things that never satisfy. You begin to rest in something deeper, something stable and eternal. And when that happens, you don't need to fix the ego. You just stop believing it. And that opens the door to a kind of freedom most people don't even know exists. 5. The sacred pause. Awakening through observation. There's a tiny space between the moment a thought appears and the moment you react to it. Most people miss it. But inside that space is the entire path to awakening. When you pause, even for just a second, and observe the thought instead of chasing it, you step out of the illusion and back into your awareness. That pause, that's sacred ground. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. Your mind jumps to rage, ready to explode. But if you take one conscious breath, you might catch it. You watch the anger rise, and suddenly, you're not in it anymore. That's the observer doing its job. And that tiny shift is everything. It's where transformation lives. It's spiritual alchemy in real time. You don't need a cave in the Himalayas to awaken. You need moments like this. Everyday opportunities to watch the mind instead of being dragged by it. You can start with 5 minutes a day. Sit down, close your eyes, and do nothing but watch. Don't control. Don't judge. Just notice. And every time you catch yourself thinking, smile. That's awareness flexing. The more you pause and observe, the more the illusion begins to crack. You start to realize how much of your suffering came from believing everything your mind said. You start to feel a space inside that's untouchable, peaceful, and alive. And from there, something deeper begins to wake up, like snapping out of a dream. 6. You've been dreaming. What waking up from the mind feels like. Living inside the mind is like being stuck in a dream you don't know you're dreaming. Everything feels real, the fears, the drama, the anxiety. But then, something odd happened. One day, you pause long enough to see a thought without reacting, and in that moment it clicks. Wait a second. This isn't me. That's your first taste of waking up. It's just like becoming lucid in a dream. At first, you're running from monsters, falling off cliffs, or flying through the sky, and it all feels legit. But then you realize, hold on, I'm dreaming this. And boom, your whole relationship with the dream changes. Same with life. When awareness wakes up, your identity shifts from character to creator. People expect awakening to be fireworks and visions, but often it's subtle. It's noticing your mind spiral into anxiety and just watching it. No resistance, no judgment, just silence. And that silence, it's full of God, full of consciousness. It's not passive, it's powerful. It's the observer gently pulling you out of the fog. Waking up doesn't mean the dream disappears. It just means you know it's a dream. The bills still come, people still test your patience, but you're no longer hypnotized by it all. And with that inner freedom comes a sense of clarity, a clarity that's been whispered about in every ancient spiritual tradition for thousands of years. 7. Ancient wisdom. How spiritual traditions hint at this truth. The funny thing, none of this is new. Ancient wisdom has been pointing to this truth for centuries. You just have to know where to look. In Vedanta, they call it Atman, the true self beyond mind and body. In Taoism, it's the effortless Wu Wei, flowing from pure awareness. Even esoteric Christianity speaks of the kingdom of God being within. They all echo the same message. The Hermetic principle of as above, so below isn't just philosophy, it's a blueprint. It shows that the outer world reflects the inner one, so when you shift from ego to the observer, the entire outside starts to respond differently. It's not magic, it's consciousness aligning with itself. And yes, that's the same consciousness ancient mystics talked about around fires long before smartphones existed. You ever wonder why monks, mystics, and sages always look so damn peaceful? It's not because life treated them differently. It's because they stopped identifying with the noise in their heads. They realized they were not the voice. They were the awareness hearing it. That's the same truth Jesus, Buddha, Rumi, and even Hermes Trismegistus were pointing toward. These aren't just nice ideas to put on Instagram. They're real, experiential truths that start working the moment you apply them. And the wild part? You don't have to travel to a monastery to access it. You carry this wisdom inside you. It's hiding in plain sight, in your breath, your stillness, and especially in the present moment. 8. Now is the portal. Accessing your true power in the present moment. The present moment isn't just now in a casual sense. It's a living doorway, a portal. It's the only place where the mind loses its grip and the observer takes the wheel. When you're fully present, you're not stuck in stories about the past or worries about the future. You're simply here, and in that here, awareness becomes power. Not theoretical power, real, usable, mystical power. Ever tried being fully present while doing the dishes or walking without a phone? Suddenly, the ordinary feels alive. That's not your imagination. That's your awareness waking up. The silence behind the noise gets louder, and you start to realize you don't need more to be more. The mind always says, when this happens, I'll feel peace. But awareness says, peace is already here. Your true power as a conscious creator isn't activated by effort. It's activated by presence, by observing without judging, reacting, or labeling. It's not passive either. In fact, the more present you are, the more clearly you see where your energy is going, what's real and what's illusion. You become precise, grounded, divinely dangerous to the ego. This is where the illusion of separation dissolves, where God isn't something out there but something in here, something you are. And from that space, you stop trying to control reality and start dancing with it. The observer becomes the observed. And that, my friend, is where the real magic begins. If you want to elevate your vibrations and manifest with more ease, I have prepared something special for you. Click the link in the first pinned comment and join us in the journey of awakening your inner mage.